Hello and welcome to Ask the AD. I'm Dan Page, alongside Director of Athletics at Bethel College, Tony Hoops, in our first ever segment of Ask the AD. I know, Tony, I'm sure you're ready for this, first ever doing this, so a lot of interesting questions submitted. We started doing this as an effort to learn the perspectives of fans, alumni, and different other people out there, and just really just hear your questions and address those, because these are topics that you want to know more about. So, Tony, are you ready?
I'm ready to go. This is a good idea. I'll give all the credit to Dan. It was his idea for doing it, and so hopefully it's something that you as fans and spectators can engage in and learn more about maybe the ins and outs of our department, and get the true answers that you want to get as we kind of narrow this down and do this. So I'm excited. Let's get going, Dan.
Okay, yeah, there's several questions submitted. We narrowed it down to a few. So the first question has to do with success in recent years in regards to football and basketball. What would you say is the reason for those, maybe some of the things that have helped with that?
You know, I think it's an interesting component in regards to the question submitted. Obviously, was what is specific in regards to just the basketball and football success. But I would like to elaborate maybe more as what is given the Bethel College athletics as a whole success, and we've seen that across the board. You can see that in the KCAC Commissioner's Cup and what we've been able to do with that. And I think it starts, if I were to say, I love this question, by the way, because it truly is, it's fun to reflect. It's hard to believe this is my 6th year as athletic director already, but as I look back and think about this a little bit, I think it starts with a cultural shift that we really tried to emphasize 6 years ago. And that cultural shift was, we can't control the results, but we can control the environment, and we can control the experience that people have. Our fans have, our student athletes have, our coaches have, et cetera. And to really try to focus on that and what kind of experience we want to have. And that's centered around, we want to create life-changing experiences for our student athletes and those that are part of Bethel Athletics. And from there, I'm a big believer in that your who, meaning who you hire, really matters. And we're really blessed to have some amazing people here currently. And to be honest with you, some amazing people who have transitioned into other jobs as well, that have established a framework for not just basketball and football success, but across the entire platform there. And from that, then that builds into the opportunity to be successful, because we've been able to retain now at a really high level of great coaches. But those coaches now, we've been very, very deliberate about who we recruit, how we recruit, and why we do the things that we do. And so as we've trained that, now we've gotten recruits that are here that are really bought into Bethel College as a holistic student here. And as a result of that, they've retained. And then when you retain them, one thing I know in collegiate athletics is usually 22 and 23-year-olds beat 18 and 19-year-olds. And what I mean by that is that we've been able to win with juniors and seniors lately. And if you look at the success specifically of basketball or football success, we've had a lot of good seniors go through the programs, and that's been really helpful for us. And so all of that has compiled then into overall success and that retention of people. And then that becomes it spreads across the entire campus community, and it spreads especially within our department as well. And you're starting to see some programs now resurface, such as volleyball right now, that's really taken off this fall. Well, it's not, it's not just a rare entity that occurred. Coach Leak has done a tremendous job, but she's done it in the same element of, they've got some upperclassmen now that have committed to the program, done a great job, and she has surrounded herself with, I would say, some tremendous people on this floor to continue to learn from. And as a result of that, she's starting to see success there too. And that's just one example of a program, but it's exciting and it's fun to reflect upon that. But I will say that it's not been easy, but it has been very intentional, and you can have success when you have intentional purpose to what we're doing, and there's definitely intentionality with how we've been able to do things here.
That question coming in from Mike. Our next question comes from Dustin. This is in regards to like gear and things like that. Is there any way Thresher fans can get access to Under Armour apparel like I'm sporting today? Fans, they sometimes have a team store submitted to them for if they have a family member on the team or a coach, but they're talking about, well, maybe the selection is nice, but maybe a little bit limited in that regard. I'm sure the obvious kind of things are the Thresher shop on campus, but what can you tell us a little bit more beyond that?
Yeah, it's a good question there. Appreciate you asking that there. And it's actually really, this is helpful for me to know as the athletic director too, is that there is a desire for more of that. And so we work with BSN, who is our Under Armour network or, entity that we get all of our supplies from. Each team typically does a team store. As you mentioned in your question, though, that is limited a little bit in regards to, it's about a 3-week store typically that they have out there. One of the things we've tossed around is, do we just have a store that we just have on our website that is continuous, and that you could go in and get that? And we'll look into that possibility there as well. We definitely want to work with the Thresher shop, though, on campus, and promote what they have. And they have an online store that you can always order stuff online there as well. They specifically, would have some Under Armour apparel there then too, but not just only Under Armour as well. So I know I've got some Nike people out there that probably want some Bethel Nike gear as well. And so if that's you, that you can get that at the Thresher shop there. But within our athletic department specifically, we've been able to have a lot of success with the Under Armour and the contract that we have through BSN. So we'll continue to look at different platforms. But one of the things that we may look at is creating something on our website, BethelThreshers.com. So we'll keep you posted on that, and I appreciate the question.
Absolutely. Our next question comes from Rod. He's looking for game footage from 1977 Thresher football. Oh my goodness. You probably have to throw it back for that. There's some out there kind of lingering on YouTube and things like that, but any leads on where to find that?
Colin Lautensock would be the first one to communicate with, and Colin's our assistant AD for communications. He may not have the direct footage, but can a lot of times point you in the right direction to be able to do that. It's impressive the amount of historical data that we have. One of my favorite events of the year is always doing the Hall of Fame event here, and be able to pull out some of the archives and the video archives that we have. It's really impressive. And so I would first reach out to Colin and see once where he can point you out in the right direction there. I know that I think we have a YouTube channel that maybe is managed a little bit through not the athletic department, but potentially through maybe the library.
Yeah, John Thiessen, he has a few out there. Has some Bethel basketball, football out there. It's really cool actually to find, and you can find all sorts of things from the different decades. Yeah. But it's kind of like clips and things like that. I don't know about complete games by any means, but the library would probably be the best place.
Yeah, I'd say reach out to John Thiessen then as well, and he can definitely point you in the right direction for what we could do there too. But I love connecting with alumni who want to be able to find some of that footage. I love watching it too as well, and so we'll continue to work with you. But reach out to us, and we'll build that out as best we can. So keep us in the loop. We'll see what we can find for you.
All right, our last question comes from Sarah. This is in regards to game day operation. It's a good problem to have when your parking lot is absolutely full and overflowing, but she wants to know if there's anything that can be improved about game day operations in relation to after the game, like, exiting the stadium. There's only one way to get out, and it's kind of challenging. She says, any chance that both lanes could be used to exit the stadium instead of one for incoming and one for outgoing? Could police help with traffic as well? So
yeah, great question, and I appreciate it. I will start with this: it's a good problem that we have, and so that's exciting, and we want to continue to have that. And I would assume that this is probably in relation to after our Fall Fest came this year, we had a record attendance of. We ended up coming up with about 2,044 total people that we had tickets for that in that game there, and so we believe we're claiming it's the largest recorded crowd that we've had in regards to ticket sales. We can't prove that it may be the opening game there wasn't more, but in regards to actually proven ticket sales, it's definitely the largest we've seen in recent history. So that's exciting. But it's amazing, these are things that as an athletic director you don't always know a lot about. After that Southwestern game, and it was such a close game, so nobody left early, which is exciting. Maybe a little bit too nervous down the stretch, but nonetheless it was exciting. But one of the things, I called my mom after that game, if you happened to be there, and she was driving just about a 2-hour drive home back to where they live, and I said, how far are you home? Oh, I just got out of the parking lot a little bit ago, and I was like, that was 45 minutes ago. Yeah, it took me 45 minutes to get out of the parking lot. I knew at that point in time we had a problem. And so definitely want to continue to look at this. One of the things we're looking at here is we do hire parking attendants, and a huge shout out to Greg Dick. He does a tremendous job with each and almost every single football game. He and a crew of others help with the parking, and then help with trying to get people out of the parking lot as well. And so I really appreciate their volunteered efforts. They've done that for almost 20 years. It's amazing what they've done there. And so I appreciate him, what he does. But one of the things we'll look at is, especially at night games where we anticipate that it's going to be a larger crowd and it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get out, is working with the North Newton Police Department and Randy Jordan and trying to figure out a way to have a better exit strategy, because there's no reason it should take us 45 minutes to get people out of our parking lot. And so you are correct. It would be nice to be able to get one exit going one way and exit the other way. We do have on rare occasions people coming in, or a lot of times it's Pizza Hut coming in and they're delivering pizzas to the visiting team. So we do have to have a way for those to get in there. But if we did have a police presence, we could probably work that out a lot better. So yeah, we're working on it, and definitely it's something to consider in the future. And I appreciate you letting us know, because as I say a lot of times, I can't fix what I don't know, and we'll definitely drive about some solutions for that. So I appreciate the questions, very helpful.
One quick last question, because we're trying to make this a little shorter than usual. The status of the Thresher Stadium locker room project.
It's coming along quickly. It's been really helpful. Farmers in the area, you need some rain, but from construction company, we've gotten a lot done this fall because it hasn't rained at all, and they've been able to get a lot of things done. Currently, the beams are up. They just started putting on the side panels this week. And so for our last home football game, likely you might see a mostly, or at least halfway, enclosed building at that point in time. Once they get that enclosed, then obviously they'll start doing all the inside work. But it is coming along very quickly. They're very much on target and with where they'll finish, and we're projected at sometime early to middle of April finish. And it's going to be an exciting facility. So if you haven't driven by Thresher Stadium lately, it looks a little different, because you see these beams hanging up over the top of the visitor bleachers, and it's really starting to become a reality out there then too. So be on the lookout. One of the things you can do is you can always go to BethelThreshers.com, and I think it's under Fan Zone, but there's a live camera that you can literally go and just view what's going on. It takes a picture every 15 minutes, and you can see what's going on out there at all times. So if that's something you're interested in. But it is an exciting process, and anytime you're building construction, we're excited to have it. And I know those student athletes, all of our student athletes, are excited to be able to use that facility later this spring and then into the fall of 2023, which is hard to believe.
Yeah, years are flying by here. Well, that's going to do it for our first ever segment of Ask the AD. The athletic department at Bethel College, always looking for new ideas. If you don't think that they are, go look at his whiteboard in his office. It's full of different words and everything, ways to improve Thresher athletics. It's been thought of, and if it hasn't, bring it up to him. So he's Tony Hoops. I'm Dan Page. This has been Ask the AD. Stay tuned in January for our next segment. We'll send out another form with questions, and we definitely look forward to those of you that submit those questions. So for Tony Hoops, I'm Dan Page. Thanks for watching.